My name is Father Joe Arimoso. I'm the rector of St. George's College here in Harare. I've also been the coordinator for JCAM, the Jesuit Association of Secondary and Basic Education in Africa and Madagascar, which I'm now winding up and handing over to someone else. So it's been a very interesting 12-year journey, I can say. Yes, this is my 12th year being coordinator for JCAM. When I came to take over that job 12 years ago, we didn't have JCAM. So we just had a group of delegates from Africa and Madagascar who would meet maybe once in 2 years or once in 3 years, you know, maybe spend a few days together and then maybe come up with some resolutions and meet again after 2 years. And my experience then when we had that structure was that after 2 years, we usually forgot everything and we didn't even have the minutes of the previous meeting. So we'd actually start all over again. So we felt that we needed to form a proper network with a proper structure, because this was just a group of delegates from different provinces and schools were scattered, operating individually. So in 2018, when we had our meeting in Lusaka, that's when we formed JCAM as a network. And the reason for forming that network was to make sure that we enhance collaboration, networking, and maybe sharing of resources and sharing of ideas and inspirations and stories. That's how we formed JCAM, and that was way back in 2018. And since then, I think things have moved very well. We've had more interaction between schools themselves. We've had more meetings as delegates. We had a resolution then to meet every year. So we've been meeting every year to discuss our recommendations and to help each other to implement them at school levels, at province levels. So looking back, I really think that we've come from far. Looking back at what we used then to call JCAM Education. And that translated or was transformed into JCAM. So I really think that we are actually making progress in terms of the quality of education that we're offering, in terms of networking, in terms of common formation in our schools, in terms of communicating with one another. There are some individual schools who have really made big strides and they represent us well on the map. And there are some schools, of course, struggling in terms of financials especially. Funding is a big issue. So if you look at it from the point of view of just being Jesuit schools and putting basic systems in place like child protection, Jesuit ethos, I think we're in a good place compared to we're just doing a comparison here, because we've not reached where I would say, yes, we can really celebrate that every school has got those basic structures. But I think we have come far. I think we're doing well. Our theme, our main word or phrase there is networking. So we're not just networking at our local level or at our Africa and Madagascar level. We're saying the networking we're talking about is what Father Jose Mesa presented this morning. He was talking about we must be global and local. So that's why you see that we've got a mix of speakers. Jesuits are there on the list, lay people, female, male, and people from outside to come and be with us, witness what we're doing, and also share ideas, give presentations from their own point of view, from their own experience. For example, Bob Razor, who is there, you know, he is the coordinator for North America, so he has got a lot of experience to share with us. So it's part of that word networking and collaboration. Unlocking the Future really came or was born from a survey that we did in 2011 with a consultant, Ms. Paddy Pacey. So me and her went around all our schools, did a survey just to check where we are, like to measure where we are in terms of how we're educating them. It was that particular document that actually helped us to come up with that idea of unlocking the future. It was the challenges that we found in the schools, that, you know, there was poor service delivery in terms of education, poor infrastructure, poor rounded education, so to speak. Even Jesuit ethos was not very strong, it was weak. So those findings led us to say we need to respond to those challenges in those schools. In other words, when we looked at those challenges, we felt that the students who came to our school had no much future to talk about if the systems remained like that. So for us, we said, now we're going to unlock the future by responding to those kind of challenges and putting the new systems in place. And that way, whichever youngsters or young people came to our schools, they can find the future. Hence, we came up with that program called The Future, where we came up with key result areas. I think there were 15, many of them. We had child protection, it was there. We had teaching and learning, and conferencing, infrastructure development. So with about 15 key result areas where we drew up a program to look for funding to begin to respond to those challenges. And just on the side, talking about child protection safeguarding, if I'm not mistaken, we were the first ones to begin to talk about child protection in this country in terms of putting programming around child protection and training. And then eventually we had to work with the Archdiocese and the local church and to produce all those policies. So it was something that was born out of that particular program called Unlocking the Future. It had huge impact. What I feel is that while we're doing other projects like VBE, values-based education, maybe there's need again to do full cycle, come back to do a similar survey and actually come up with a new framework of a new, maybe Unlocking the Future too. I think maybe that's what we need to do. I think it has run its course. If you go back to 2011 until now, that's many years ago. So we cannot rely on that document that we produced then. We probably need to come up again with a survey and say with the new challenges that we're facing, with new developments, today we've been talking about AI and all these things. We need to go back there to the drawing board and say what are the new challenges that we're facing and how can we again unlock the future. My big dream was always to say, we're still weak in terms of collaboration, networking among our own schools. Over the years, it was fashionable or profitable in terms of financials to network with a school in the UK or in Germany, because then you would get some funding, help you build the sink boreholes or build a classroom and all these things, which is fine, which is okay. But I think amongst ourselves, we have so much in common. Can we talk to each other? Can we network? Can we do exchange visits just within JASBIM itself? That's my dream, that if we can enhance that, yes, we can eventually, like I said, local, we can open up to network with other schools in Europe and the US later, but can we strengthen our own roots in terms of networking? That's my dream.
Arimoso, I know him for a long time, and we collaborate very well. He is an outstanding man. He has got this power in working, and he really worked very hard to get us together. We have been planning this meeting for a year, more than a year now, and I can tell you that I witnessed how persistent he was, how passionate he could be. And it was not easy because one of our weaknesses in Africa is communication. We don't communicate that much. We don't communicate well. And you have to be very patient, and he was patient. So I gave him a 2 thumbs up. And it's really a joy, and I'm so proud of him, of what he has achieved here. Doing all that in top of what he's been doing here already. To run a school like this, so big, so complex, this is something that is really amazing.
And my words to him are words of gratitude. Gratitude for his generosity. Gratitude because coordination is not an easy job. Coordination is more difficult than doing, because you are trying to gather what people are doing and orient those things in one direction. The second is to tell him to rest. He has done the job for 11 years and counting. When I tell him to rest, it doesn't mean that his phone will rest, because I'll be calling him all the time. But he can rest assured that the team that will be coming on board, we are enthused about continuing the good initiatives he has started. Finally, is to say that the work never stops. We rest even when we are retired in the Society of Jesus. They give us a mission to pray for the church and the society. So my first mission to him when I officially take over is, Joe, you'll be praying for JCAM. So he should expect that mission immediately, that he will not rest from praying and supporting us from the background.